Yeah, it's Mercy. Music by Mercy again. Heat Nation, we the culture. Yo, E, I need you to call timeout. Need Brady to set the floor plan. Tropical blanket, open for the shot. Yo, Greg, set the pick. Still 5 on the floor, still ride for my dog. Still battle on the court, still survive in the war. Keep your eye on the ball, or get burned from the keep this mic off the wall without turning the cheek. From night to day, no sleepy paths or allowed to mornings. The nut is sleeping us, never catch us snoring. Live from Miami, report in the heat with 5 reasons sports from the court to the streets. Damn, Wake County, Heat Nation, we still proudly.
Welcome to 5 on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, Alex Toledo, Brady Hawk, and others from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Also, make sure to subscribe to Off the Floor for the most heat anywhere.
Welcome back to 5 on the Floor Live. I'm your host, Greg Sylvander. Tonight's floor plan with me, Digital Adel. We are going to recap another Miami Heat victory. They pulled this one off, 144. Yes, you heard that correctly, 144 with no Norman Powell and no Tyler Hero. We're going to get into that in a minute. 144, 117. Offensive clinic, 54% from the field, 44% from three. I don't even know what to say about this team so far, but we're going to find words. Before we do, you got to be on Off the Floor. That's our Discord server, $2.99 a month. You're going to get the most heat anywhere. This is where you can talk Miami Heat basketball 24/7. We have channels dedicated to all the different aspects around the team, but even like stuff, fantasy sports, you can talk NFL. You can really migrate all your social media to one place, do it all with like-minded Heat fans on Off the Floor, $2.99 a month. The link is in the description of this episode, so make sure to check that out. Like I said, I'm as I think as flabbergasted and impressed as anybody, Adele, that they are able to continue to commit to playing like this and execute it in a way where we've now seen that they have had to integrate different pieces into lineups, and stuff just continues to hum in terms of the fact that they are moving the ball, they're scoring points by getting out and running, they're creating turnovers. So there's a lot to get to here, but your initial thoughts, not just on the Hornets game tonight, because, I mean, it's the Hornets, and I think ultimately they're going to be in the lottery again. But it's more, this has less to do about the competition and more to do with what the hell we're seeing from this Miami Heat group, who tonight get all kinds of production from guys off the bench. Wiggins, Bam, both have good games. They really just had a well-rounded effort. Your thoughts on what seems to be a system that maybe they can lean into that almost transcends lineups to a degree?
To a degree, I think you're right. And the system really is creating space, playing fast, beating guys to the paint, and then creating drive and kick opportunities. That ball movement is really impressive. And it's one of those things, without Norm Powell, you kind of had to wonder, what is the offense going to look like without a guy who gets downhill as easy as Norm does and be able to hit as efficiently from the outside as he does? And what you saw was a collective unit of Davion Mitchell, Bam Adebayo, and Jaime Jaquez Jr., and all of those guys, even Pelle Larsson throughout the lineup, Simone Fontecchio, who I was wrong about. He's really played terrific. They all are able to play their role and create that drive and kick system without overhandling the basketball. And I think that's the most important thing. When you don't have elite ball handlers, you just have to be able to beat the close, cause help defense, and then kick and facilitate. And I think that's the most simple terms I can break it down into.
Yeah. 34 assists on 52 made field goals. they're getting out, they're going, they're not over dribbling. So a lot of stuff that used to drive us crazy, whether it be from Jimmy at times or Terry Rozier or even other guys, we're not seeing that kind of stuff tonight. For anybody who maybe is just catching up with the post-game show and didn't get a chance to really digest what took place tonight, Norman Powell didn't play. He was questionable, ended up, I think, tweaking the groin enough to where it was sore in shoot around, I guess is what from what I understand. And so they're playing it super safe. And I think that that's the right move. And so immediately my mind went to, well, they don't have Tyler and they don't have Norm.
Right.
What's this going to look like? And Spo, he did what he normally does in that he plugged in Pele Larson, who hasn't really been part of the rotation as much.
Right.
And that was kind of like a spot starter so that he could keep the bench unit intact. The bench unit is proving to be one that they can rely on. Like when they, in this game tonight, it was a situation where you could tell when that bench unit was on the court that they were heads and shoulders above Charlotte. And that was where they could really make runs, get out and go. And that's going to kind of lead us into our first segment where we shout out the player of the night who was just unbelievable and has been all season. Let's get to it with the aggressive player of the night.
And now it's time for the Aggressive Insurance Player of the Night, sponsored by our friend Lynette. You can find her at insurancebylynette.com. That's with 2 N's and 2 T's, insurancebylynette.com. If you need car insurance, renter's insurance, homeowner's insurance, or any other type of insurance, she's the person to go to. Based in Lauderhill, she services the entire Tri-County area here in South Florida, and she will make sure to get you the best deal. She'll probably talk to you about the heat while you're at it. Reach out to her, insurancebylynette.com. And now, the player of the game.
So there was a lot of garbage time buckets that inflate the box score. But if we really hone in on it, on who impacted this game, Adel, I think you and I are in alignment here. It's Jaime Jaquez Jr., right? Mute.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry about that. But Jaime Jaquez Jr., he was unbelievable. We're in complete alignment. The biggest development of the season so far for me is Jaime being able to be a facilitator for that second unit. And not just a facilitator, but an engine. Because he scored 28 points tonight in only 28 minutes of action, a little under a point per minute. And he also had 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, took care of the ball. He had 3 turnovers, but he averages like 18% usage. I believe that number tonight is much higher than that because he had the ball in his hands a lot. And his biggest development is getting into the paint and then being able to make a good decision out of it. One of the plays that stuck out in my mind, he drove with his left hand, collapsed 3 guys on him without even thinking about it, whipped a pass to the wing for a wide open 3. Last year, he's barreling into those 3 guys, getting an offensive foul. So his basketball maturity, his IQ development, him getting healthy, the explosion is back, which we're going to talk about later. All that marrying together in his 3rd season, he's been unbelievable.
Highly efficient, Jaime Jaquez was 9 of 14, 8 of 8 from the free throw line. I think his career high for made free throws in a game is 9. So, yeah. I mean, you're talking about a player who is, I don't know how you go one season to the next and look like you have infinitely faster processing speed as you were playing the game of basketball, but Jaime Jaquez has figured out a way to do that so far. And I think a lot of it has to do with that he's just making a decision to do certain things. And you've also on our Discord off the floor, which I plugged earlier, but Adel has mentioned very often that we have to recognize that Jaquez was also not healthy last year. And that is a huge element of this. And so just to see him look more comfortable, it's a game changer. Also, to highlight guys off the bench before we get to the play of the night, and then we'll kind of wrap it up, just going rapid fire with all these guys. I really think that Bam with 26 and 6 rebounds tonight, there were moments early where I didn't love all the action that and the shots that Bam got. There's some easy ones that he needs to make really early in the game. I thought he took a couple ill-advised shots that I didn't love, but ultimately he rounded into form. Wiggins as well, I think sometimes takes shots, and we were talking about it on playback. Ben Tovia specifically was really calling out every moment that when Wiggins caught it, it's probably going to be a step back jumper, but they're playing through these guys. They're figuring out ways to score 144. Yes, Heat fans, this is not the 90s era where they were playing the Knicks and scoring in the 80s. It's also higher paced and faster paced and higher scoring than the Big Three era. I don't know how the hell that's possible, but we'll see how much they can continue with that. Any other thoughts with the starters? I know that Kel'el Ware rounded into 14 and 9. Larson in the plug and play role was really good tonight. Davion Mitchell, I think that's the guy we should talk about next. Adel, talk about what he's been able to do as they share the ball, and he still is quarterbacking this thing in a way where night in, night out, you can count on him for defense, and it appears as if you can count on him for a really good assist to turnover ratio most nights and high assist numbers most nights.
Absolutely. I mean, Davion was an absolute menace defensively. LaMelo Ball, everybody's heard me call him a very unserious basketball player. And I want to point out one of the ways that is. Davion Mitchell gets up under you, and you have to fight really hard for all of your space. And so when you do that, the easy way out is to take silly step back one-footed threes all game. And that's literally what LaMelo did. He didn't try harder to beat him off the dribble. He didn't use screen and rolls to get into the paint. He shot one-legged threes all game because it's easier to do. And that's because of Davion Mitchell's ball pressure. Now, the other thing that Davion did, he's a walking paint touch. He can get into the paint with that speed anytime that he wants. He's not always going to finish. He's like 6 foot tall. He's not very big, but he's going to generate the assist. He's going to collapse the defense and get the ball moving. And that's the big thing with this system. Cause a paint touch, people overreact, you get the ball moving. And that was really big from Davion Mitchell. So I love the way he played. He was the engine in that first quarter to keep that pace going and kind of handed that baton off to Jaime later. I want to touch on Ware too. Ware didn't have a very good game. His numbers are better than what it appears. So I don't want to kind of just gloss over like everything's rosy. It was one of his off nights as well. And hopefully he can start stacking better games. But the key to this is all the other players are stepping up. Pelle Larsson, like you said, he played fantastic, 17 points, 50% from three tonight. And that was something you didn't see all of last season from Pelle. The shooting we thought we were going to get from him, we just didn't get. Now you're getting it.
37-34 was the score at the end of the first quarter. Miami was up 3. And I think to your larger point about where statistically it's fine, and we'll move on to the next game because they just won 144 to 117. But early in the game, in addition to like what I mentioned about being frustrated with some of Bam's decision making early, I think like Kalkbrenner was taking it to Ware in certain moments.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of stuff that needed to be cleaned up. And I think that when you saw they followed up a 37-point first quarter with a 39-point second quarter. We talked about them closing halves. They did that really well in this game.
Yes.
They go into the second half. They play Charlotte to a standstill in the third, 29-28. Then they take off for another 39 points in the fourth quarter. The fact that they're creeping up on 40-point quarters, and their two leading scorers, by all accounts, probably their two leading scorers, even though I said that Bam would lead the team in scoring, but y'all know I'm biased. No ceiling. Norm and Tyler are out, and they're still doing this. I can't explain it, but we're going to keep enjoying it. Let's get to the next segment.
And now it's time for the X-Ray of the Play of the Day, brought to us by our friends over at Mobile C-Arm and Staffing Services. Nelson and his team will bring the X-ray equipment and the staffing to you. If you work in a hospital or a medical office, Get a consultation today at c-armandstaffing.com or give them a call at 561-891-9620. Their fleet of trucks at your service. Again, it's Mobile C. Armand Staffing Services, 561-891-9620. And now, the X-ray of the play of the day.
So the play of the night happened early. We saw it was really early in the game, and I'm not going to probably get the exact sequence perfect, but Jaime Jaquez had a first quarter dunk in traffic. Did he get it off of a miss or a pass? What happened there? Can you walk us through that? You're on mute again.
Yeah, I don't want to talk over our partners. So,
yeah, right.
But what happened with Jaime, and this is fantastic. He set up this move. It was in the half court. He was dribbling at the top of the key. A nice little in and out dribble. He kind of turned his shoulders towards the half court line and then just crossed back over, went right into the lane and didn't stop, full speed, two hands, flushed on top of two people's heads, landed really hard on his shoulder. That's going to be sore tomorrow. But it was just, again, showing that dunk contest explosiveness that he didn't have last year that he has now. And another small thing, that lightning quick first step that he has was missing last year. It's now back also because he's fully healthy again, as you pointed out. And so, yeah, that just little in and out dribble, crossover from right to left into the lane, got downhill, two hands for safety.
Thank you for reminding me that he got downhill himself, because for some reason I thought that it was in a scrum and he ended up just putting it back. And that's kind of the fun part of this Miami Heat team so far, has been that there's been plays throughout the game continuously that make you say, wow. Like Nico had this play where he got a guy on his hip on the wing, took a turnaround jumper that you just wouldn't see Nico normally take, swished it. Like all these guys are really playing with confidence. They're playing free. They're not thinking. Tonight, I think, and I'm going to go box score watching, so bear with me, y'all. I think they only had like 11 turnovers. I'm going to get to it here live on the show. Bear with me, y'all.
They had 11. You were right.
11. Yeah. I mean, that's huge. Points off turnovers, 26-7. This is the last key as we close. It doesn't matter what they do offensively. Spoelstra is ultimately going to grade this team on what they do on the defensive end. And I think that the fact that a lot of the offense that's happening in some of these games are directly correlated to the forcing turnovers, that's a really good sign, because it's telling me that it's not just explosive offensive nights that are reliant upon making a million threes. It's that they're actually doing stuff within the game that's causing them to get out in transition, to get easy buckets. This team needs to get easy buckets. Tonight, they take maybe more threes than we've seen them take throughout this year. I'm looking here. They were 20 of 45 for 44%. I mean, you love that. But they haven't even had to shoot that many or make that many to score this amount of points. Tonight, they were really good, 54% overall. Your thoughts on the defense before we close?
Absolutely. To your point, the Miami Heat caused 17 turnovers for Charlotte to only Miami's 11, and they got 14 fast break points to Charlotte's 7. So that shows that defense translating directly to offense. And also, even if they weren't getting turnovers, they were getting into the paint. And that's the big thing. Charlotte got outscored 58-44 in the paint. And that isn't because an old school big man was sitting there posting up in the middle of the lane. They were getting downhill 2 feet in the paint time and time again all night. And again, that goes back to playing good defense and playing fast.
Yeah, it is a new day for Heat fans, and it's going to take some getting used to. But I don't think the play style is going to change, particularly because it looks like everyone's having a lot of fun with it. Obviously, 3-1 is always going to feel good. I think that it's important to recognize that early in a season, sometimes bad teams look really good and sometimes good teams look really bad. And a lot of that stuff gets figured out along the way. So I've been trying to temper expectations, but when you continuously see them put up these kinds of efforts offensively, irrespective of who the hell's guarding them, it's a good sign. So ultimately, I think Heat fans should feel really good about another victory. This one was 144-117 against Charlotte. Up next, they are in San Antonio against a team that, in terms of like my league pass rankings, Adele, the Spurs are probably number one right now. I haven't missed a game yet. They've been so much fun to watch. Wemby is doing things that I never seen a player like him do every single night. It's appointment viewing, and it appears as if we should have a relatively healthy Heat group, because I think today with Norman Powell was really precautionary. I'm guessing he'll be back Thursday. I'm hoping he'll be back. But Ware and Bam will be there for Wemby. Your final thoughts on the matchup against San Antonio before we close out?
Absolutely. I think they're one of the funnest teams in the league to watch. I have quite a few teams that I watch on League Pass when I can, and San Antonio's right up there. It's going to be a difficult matchup because they can put ball pressure right back on the Miami Heat, just like Davion and the Wings have been doing with Bam. It's going to be an interesting matchup. Ware always gets up for Wemby. It's one of the games where he just turns into a different player, man. So I'm excited to watch it. A couple of the keys to the game is going to be, can they keep up this pace against that defensive pressure that the San Antonio Spurs can put out with Stephon Castle? Of course, you have Victor Wembanyama. You have all the young firepower that team has. Carter Bryant, their rookie, is also very good at point of attack defense. So it's going to be a battle of will, again, in terms of whose style is going to win out. It's going to be very interesting watch.
Yeah, and it always seems like Khalil Ware tends to get up for the Wemby matchup. I know that he won't be exclusively guarding him, that's a team thing, but it'll be fun to watch. And I think the overarching point is the Heat are making Tuesday nights against Charlotte fun. So Thursday night against San Antonio is probably going to be fun. So tune into 5 on the Floor. We'll have it for you. On playback, we'll be watching. You can hang out with us there. You can chat with us on our Discord, Off the Floor. Make sure you check that out. The link is in the description of this episode. And then we'll have you live on the post-game show as well. So, Adele, thank you for your time. Thank you to everyone who is watching live. We appreciate our live audience. And another Heat victory. We'll take it. Peace.